Hi, I'm Marty Levinson, and welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Marty, I'm Caroline Vickery. I'm going to cut out backroom deals in the 43rd Ward.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet home Chicago. 224 446.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. I honestly don't know right now whether or not there's going to be a Jewish Chicago. There is definitely interest, but because there are only so many races for the runoff election, I'm not sure there's enough advertising to warrant a print edition. I might just put one out on the web. Stay tuned, we'll have to see. In the meantime, if you have to see this right now and you've got an extra several $1 million you'd like to spend, I can make a quarter page ad available for $5 million. So just think of it that way. In any event, community policing is something we're real big on, and we haven't plugged that much, and we're real happy about the way things are in the 24th District. Commander Thomas Waldera has really, together with Sergeant Sisk and Mike Stahula and I'm forgetting two names right now. Pardon? Yeah, Z, but she's got a Zelita. Yeah, Zelita's and the new one. We'll get you next time. We're running. We don't want to cost our guests too much time, but we're real happy about that. And we've had some really interesting surprise guests at two of the last three CAPS meetings, and they show up unpublicized. So if you're in the 24th District and want to show, for the November meeting, we actually had the people that run the 911 center come. And of course, none of you who complained about 911 actually showed up at that meeting. And then in the February meeting, we had the Deputy Chief of Patrol, Wayne Guilford, who's in charge of all the beats, and that was really terrific. And he answered questions and told everybody what was happening about beats, so make sure you show up at these meetings. In the meantime, we've got runoff elections for mayor and in 19 of the wards. We really only concentrating, for the most part, on the north side wards in terms of the interviews. Even though we're seen throughout the city, we try to... I don't know anywhere near as much about some of the south side wards as I do about the north side wards. And of course, the boundaries are gerrymandered as always, so it's not like there's real neighborhoods that get to stick together. But one of the people who's here right now is in a runoff for the second time in a row in the 45th Ward. It promises to be a razor-close election, and everybody needs to get out and vote on Election Day. And we're talking about Lieutenant John Garrido. How are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you again for having me on the show, and thank you for your endorsement.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure, and that was an easy. I mean, I don't know how anybody could ever vote for that other guy, but that's another story.
That is another story.
And that's not even to mention his behavioral problems that have shown up of late. But I get an awful lot of emails from people who really don't like him that point out those little incidents where he loses his head in public and goes on a tirade.
He's got quite the reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So, listen, let's reacquaint people. Let's pretend you've never been on the show before. You've only been on about 5 times.
Okay. All right.
But who are you and what do you do?
So I'm John Garrido, and I'm running for 45th Ward Alderman. And the 45th Ward actually makes up about roughly five communities. And it starts up at Gladstone Park, Jefferson Park, Six Corners, Independence Park, and Old Irving. Not quite in that order. And it's a very diverse community, and it's perfectly situated on the northwest side of Chicago. Got the Kennedy Expressway running right down the middle of it. Got the Blue Line, Metra, easy access to O'Hare Airport and downtown. It really is. It's a great community. Yeah,
it really is a nice community. It just needs a little more kick to it.
It does. We actually need a lot of work. Unfortunately, if you drive through the ward now, it's still empty storefront after empty storefront. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our streets are not being surfaced like they should be, resurfaced like they should be, and it's quite a mess right now.
I'm definitely sorry to hear that. So basically, in the first election was close. One of the other candidates, Michelle Barrett, who was a guest on the show that I met through Tom Stapka, has come out and endorsed you.
Yes, yeah, we're real happy to have Michelle's endorsement. There was 4 of us in the race, and I got about 40% of the vote. John Arena got about 45% of the vote, and Michelle took in about 13, almost 14% of the vote. And with her endorsement, that pretty much creates about there's about 55% of the voters voted against the incumbent right now. So we have to rally all those voters together and get them back out on April 7th. And
no, definitely. And you know, it's more than well within the range of possibility. Generally speaking, people had 4 years to get to know Arena and chose not to vote for him in that 50% category. So
Right.
I don't think he's going to gain too many new friends for the runoff.
I think it definitely speaks volumes. When you have 55% of the ward that'll come out and vote against the incumbent, to me, that shows that there's an absolute disconnect between the alderman's office and the residents. So I think that they're going to come out again. Our job is going to be to get these voters to come back out to the polls. Usually there's a drop-off between the general election and the runoff. So we've got our work cut out for us.
But this is the first time you've got a mayoral primary, so hopefully that'll...
That is a completely different dynamic. That's definitely, we're actually hoping that's going to help bring out more voters and get them back to the polls again. Because the last election we had in 2011, we had a 3,000 voter drop-off.
Wow.
Between the two. So this will definitely help keep, the mayor's race will definitely help keep people more engaged.
Oh, it'll definitely help because, yeah, last time there was no runoff for mayor. That was a done deal and a closed issue.
Right, and I mean, even there was less runoff citywide. I think, what do we have, 17 or 18 runoffs?
Now there's 19.
19?
Yeah, this is the most that there's ever been, if I'm not mistaken, and I like seeing that.
Right, yeah, so voters are stepping up. Unfortunately, voter turnout was still pretty low, but... and maybe that's what's caused these these runoffs. I'm not sure, but
you know, it's interesting because traditional wisdom would say that when turnout is low, usually the incumbent wins, but that wasn't the case.
It wasn't
this time.
the case this time. No,
People
not at
are
all.
really fed up.
They are, and I mean, it was pretty cold. You understand that, but people have so many opportunities to vote. You can vote by mail is easy. You can go right online, request the ballot. They'll send it right to your house, and I don't even think you need a stamp to mail it back in. And then we have early voting starts March 23rd and goes to April 4th. And you can actually vote anywhere in the city. So even if you live in the 45th ward, but you work in another ward somewhere else, you can still go to an early voting location and vote. And then, of course, there's Election Day.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, because I'm leaving town on Election Day, I think the cops are going to be after me, but not really.
And that's the other thing, because we've got election is happening during spring break.
Yeah.
So a lot of people go out of town. So we're really trying to push to get people to come out and vote early.
Yeah, I'm going to vote. The only thing is, all I have is the mayor's race, and I can't figure out why I'd want to vote for either one of those guys, but that's another story.
That's a completely other story. Right.
Definitely. So, okay.
Well, we're anticipating now the other thing that's going to be coming, and it actually has already started, is the negative campaigning. They've already started with they call it a survey, but really it's just a way to get negative stuff out there. And then we're expect for your mailboxes to fill up with just a tsunami of mailers, both negative and positive. But it's probably going to be a messy campaign, just because it was so close last time, and it's going to be absolutely down to the wire again.
So you got to make sure you get out there and vote. And by the way, whether I put out a Jewish Chicagoan print or not, I'm still, you know, like if I was in the 45th ward, this is a no-brainer to vote for John Garrido. I mean, this other guy, you know, when you've got a proven track record, okay, you know, like people think, you know, like, well, there's the devil we got, and who knows who the devil that's coming is. But you know what? When somebody really fails for 4 years, you don't really want them back at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why when you don't have a record to run on, that's why you actually end up going negative. And unfortunately, this alderman has proven time and again that he'll say and do anything to get himself elected and reelected, even if it's not true. So,
no, very much so. And you throw enough money his way, and he'll dance in that direction.
So there's no doubt the private or the special interest groups. I think they've put over $250,000 into his campaign.
That's correct. I did see the numbers, and he really raised it unbelievable. Well, it wasn't unbelievable. It's really we're really just really talking like about 2 to 3 different organizations who put up all that money.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I think for us, the main focus and our job is going to be just to get out to the voters that there's a lot of work that we can do. And my focus is absolutely going to be working with the community, putting the community first, having that dialogue and working together to fill our storefronts, to get back to the basics. We really need to work on quality of life issues, because that going door to door, that's what I'm hearing all across the board, is that somehow the ward has drifted away from focusing on those ward services. So we want to get things like get our streets resurfaced, get our trees trimmed, and we've got to do something about this airplane noise. I don't know how bad it is over here, but when you move further west, it's a big problem. And I'm right now the only candidate in this race who signed on with FAIR. I don't know if you've heard of FAIR.
I do get emails.
FAIR
from
allocation and runways, right? And one of the big things is O'Hare has a policy of, it's called Fly Quiet, but right now it's voluntary, and we'd like to see that changed, and we'd like to see it so where it's mandatory, because it really does help reduce the noise.
Well, we are, as a matter of fact, during when the weather warms up like it is now, I turn the backyard when it doesn't have 4 inches of snow on it into my office, and we do have a tremendous amount of airplane traffic. And I've even, when we've circled going for O'Hare, I've actually been in planes that I could tell went right down my block.
Right. Because
between Warren Park and Boone School, those are my landmarks from the air, so I could point out where I was. But they're higher up; you can hear it, but it's not anywhere near the noise level where you guys got a real problem.
Right. And I was speaking to a pilot. He lives in Independence Park, and he's saying just because of the way it's set up and the way they come in and then drop down and go and then drop down and go, that's what creates all the noise instead of gliding in, which is a process that they can't do right now. So it makes it extremely noisy, and especially with the addition of the cargo planes that are coming in, they come through the Thorndale track, which is right over my house, and they're extremely loud.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So we have a delicate balance there, because there's no doubt O'Hare is an economic engine for the city of Chicago, and we're all for progress and moving forward, but we just need to have a seat at the table so that we work out something and make sure that they're a good neighbor and that we are able to improve the quality of life for our residents, because not only is it just miserable, even if they give us the soundproofing so we can soundproof our houses, then you can't sit in your yard. You're out there. If you're on the phone, you have to stop. Wait, there's a plane going over. I mean, it's that loud.
Wow. Yeah, and you're saying that the glide thing would really work? And
well, that's a whole different issue. I think that's called next gen, where planes come in higher and then they glide down. But that's not a possibility right now. So the way that they come in is what creates the noise, and that's why we would like to make the Fly Quiet policy mandatory, because that forces them to use different routes, like come in, down the expressway or through forest preserves routes that
would be nice.
Make it a little bit easier so it's not as noisy all the time.
No, that sounds like something that's very doable.
It's doable, but it's got to be mandatory, otherwise they won't.
It's understandable too.
Right.
That's for sure. So you're knocking on a lot of doors?
Every single day. Every day we're knocking on doors. We're phone banking. We're reaching out to the voters as much as we can, and that's even a task in itself, because we don't want to upset the voters, but there's no other way to communicate with you except to knock on your door, to call you on your phone, or to send you mail. And we try our best not to inconvenience the voter, but it's the only way to do it.
Wow. So anyway, no, that sounds good, and you're definitely reaching out, and I want to urge all of you that live in the 45th Ward consists of
Gladstone Park, Jefferson Park, Six Corners, Old Irving, and Independence Park.
Okay, this one's a no-brainer. You should vote for John Garrido. There's a whole bunch of names on the ballot, and they can't find you, but what's your punch number?
Right, punch number 51. And if you're in the ward and you want to come out and see us, we're having a debate at Copernicus Center on St. Patrick's Day. So
should be lively.
Starts at 7:30, and it's at Copernicus Center, and I believe there will be a bar there, so you can have your St. Patrick's Day pre-celebration at a political event.
Yeah, that could make for a very interesting political event.
It's definitely going to make the crowd interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just hope they're serving cups and not bottles.
Me too.
Campaign website?
Campaign website is johngarrido.com, JOHNGARRIDO.com.
And you're looking for volunteers, I take it?
Yes, absolutely. You can either call our office at 773-609-4545, or you can stop in the office at 5940 North Milwaukee.
5940 North Milwaukee, and the phone again for the office?
773-609-4545.
And the website?
JohnGarrido.com.
And you can vote early starting March 23rd to April 4th.
Yes.
And that's at any location throughout the city.
Or vote by mail. They'll
And-
send it right to your house.
Yeah, so definitely vote. And if you're in the 45th Ward, vote for John Garrido. We could use a strong, intelligent, independent voice in City Council. It would be a very nice thing to have. And good luck in the campaign.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.